Hello friends, today we are in Hoenn attempting a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Emerald using only the normal type. Now traditionally when I start out a Pokemon run of any given game, I use the normal types because of its sheer abundance and its weakness is only to fighting types. It gives it a lot of room for error in these Nuzlockes, especially games that I don't know very well, like Pokemon X. As a matter of fact, that tradition is held true with the exception of Pokemon Emerald and Pokemon Platinum. Pokemon Platinum has a lot of late game fighting types, that's why I avoided that run. We will do it eventually, and here in Pokemon Emerald, I can't honestly tell you why we haven't done this run yet. There are a lot of great native Hoennian normal types for us to use, and I am very excited to get started with this run. But before we get started, I have seen and heard a few comments of people hating on the different generations of Pokemon. A lot of people have made comments about Generation 3, and as a matter of fact, I had another individual ask me if I was going to play any games beyond Black 2 and White 2, where I said, hey, I just did a run of Pokemon X, and he goes, try that again. Pokemon X, or Generation 6 rather, is trash. And I was like, well, I answered your question. No matter. Generation 3 has a lot of good qualities. I know with the lack of physical special splits, some people don't like these games, but they offered a lot of modern things that people know now in today's Pokemon games, such as abilities and natures. The modern berries that you know today started in Generation 3. Now, before you come at me in the comment section going, well, actually, the berries were started in Generation 2. You are correct. However, what you know as an Oranberry today was called a berry in Generation 2. What you know as a Pecha Berry was called a Poison Cure Berry in Generation 2. The modern berries that you know today were started in this generation. You can actually go back to some of my early Nuzlockes in Pokemon Platinum where I did mention that Generation 4 was my least favorite generation and I didn't really like it, and now I have to redact that statement because now that I've played through it quite a few times and a bunch of these different Pokemon games, I love them for what they are. They are Pokemon. I was here when this game swept the entire world and became a phenomenon, and I really put aside any personal bias and I just play through the game. The storyline does get a little tedious after a while. I'm tired of hearing about Team Aqua and Team Magma, Team Plasma, Team Galactic, Team Flare. I don't care. But the games are great and I have a ton of fun playing them, so it's all Pokemon. That's my point. For the time, Pokemon Emerald was unique in the fact that it gave us two rivals to deal with. One of them is Wally, who we will never see because it's a very easy battle every single time, and the other one is May here. You also can't nickname any of the rivals in this game, so in my head I have nicknamed May Algorithm, because we were trying to beat the algorithm both in-game and in real life. Now, in-game algo in Pokemon Emerald is going to be disgustingly easy. The real-life algorithm is disgustingly difficult. I need your help to defeat it, and you can help me defeat it by liking the video, commenting, subscribing, hitting the notification bell. Any and all interactions with the channel help out a ton. As a matter of fact, give it a look, see if you're subscribed. If you keep coming back each and every week, it costs you nothing and it does help out a ton. I do want to say thank you for the continued support each and every week. The channel is growing and making headway. I cannot thank you guys enough, but we gotta keep pushing to defeat the algorithm. Back at Professor Birch's lab, we get our hands on the Pokedex, and May gives us Pokeballs marking the start of our run. Now we can actually go get ourselves some normal types. On Route 101, we just ran into a Wurmple, so on Route 103, we caught a little bit higher level of a Zigzagoon named James. This one has a Naughty plus attack minus special defense nature, and this is really a great Pokemon. We could not ask for a better OP bird, a Tailo named Michael with an adamant plus attack minus special attack nature with the guts ability. This Pokemon, you guys already know, is a phenom. In the Petalburg Woods, we get ourselves a Slackoth that we name Mary. It has a careful plus special defense and minus special attack nature. There is a name theme to all of these Pokemon. Can you guys guess it? It's pretty basic. In what I would like to call the Whismur Tunnel, not the Rusturf Tunnel, we catch a Whismur named Robert that has a quirky neutral nature. This game has a lot of normal types early on. It's really nice to start rounding out almost a full team before the first gym. We won't get a full team, but on Route 116 we meet John the Skitty, giving us 5 team members before we take on Roxanne and her rock types, which is probably going to be our hardest challenge in this entire run. The Roxanne battle is going to be sped up because there was over 26 minutes of real time into this battle. The goal here is to knock the Geodude's attack down with a couple of growls, and then we get its accuracy lowered with Sand Attack. Once we're at -6 with Sand Attack, we double back to Growl, lowering this thing as low as it can. Then I start using Tail Whips to get its defense down because it has used some defense curls, and once we get it low enough, we're going to do some damage and then swap out. Robert is actually the key to this battle, setting up howls and sweeping the entire team. I do anticipate losing a Pokemon here. I don't want to lose a Pokemon, but if I had to, Robert and or John could go. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Obviously, I do want to do these runs deathless, but things can happen. A safe swap into Robert because of a potion from Roxanne is very nice, and now we can set up howls. The Geodude is setting up its defense, which is annoying, but we can knock it out with an Uproar. Locking ourselves into a move like Uproar is very scary as we knock out the second Geodude, but the Nose Pass uses block, so we can't escape anyway. The Oran Berry and the second potion make things very annoying, but with a little bit of attrition here, we do knock out the Nose Pass, sitting at 18 HP, winning the first gym deathless. This puts us into some storyline stuff, getting the Devon goods back and saving Pico for Mr. Briny. We get the Pokénav and then head south where we run into our rival Algo. She asks us if we want to battle. You can actually say no to this battle, but I decide to go forth and conquer. Her Pokemon are not very scary at all. Her Lotad gets very low with a stab headbutt, hits us with an absorb that doesn't do much damage, and then we can take it out. Her other Pokemon is a Torchic that she has not evolved yet, and when she does evolve this thing into a Combuskin, it still doesn't pose much of a threat because we have Michael. So after we get hit with an Ember down to 20 HP, we can knock this thing out with one more headbutt, winning us a very easy rival battle. Training up Mary has been exceptionally annoying considering the Truant ability makes it to where we can only attack every other turn. Evolving this thing into a Vigoroth is going to be very nice, and to be honest with you, it's going to stay a Vigoroth. I'm not evolving that thing into a Slaking. On the surface, the next battle with Brawly is very difficult because we have a team of normal types and he's got some fighting type Pokemon. However, Michael, with the Guts ability and Stab super effective wing attacks, are going to be able to one-shot his entire team. We fish up a level 5 Tentacool that only knows Poison Sting. I know it has clear body, but I'm just wasting some time to get myself pre-poisoned to activate our Guts ability. This is going to be a very easy gym battle. Brawly stands absolutely zero chance of winning here. Michael is an absolute phenom. We've seen it in the Pokemon X run that we did. He clutched out the very last battle. A single wing attack with Guts is going to sweep his entire team, starting with Machop going down. Meditite comes out. It can't hurt us. It does go for Focus Punch. That doesn't matter. A Stab super effective wing attack takes it out. Makuhita is last. And again, a Guts boosted Stab super effective wing attack one-shots it, winning us a very easy second gym battle. This brings the level cap up and to where we can have a couple of rounds of evolution, starting with Michael evolving into a beastly Swellow. Welcome to the team. Next is Robert evolving into a Loudred. I'm surprised this Pokemon made it through the Roxanne battle, so it's nice to see the evolution. And lastly, before we take on the rival on Route 110, we can get our starter, James here, from a Zigzagoon into a Linoon, which is actually a really, really good Pokemon. I'm excited to use it. The fact that I've played through Pokemon Emerald several times means that the rival battle on Route 110 is no longer a surprise. I have done quite a bit of training, and Michael is just an absolute phenom, one-shotting the Wingull with a wing attack. Her last two Pokemon are going to go down to single wing attacks as well, and we don't even have our Guts ability activated. A Stab super effective wing attack is going to take out the Combuskin, and this is just a trivial battle. Typically, this battle can be very close to a run ender depending on the monotype challenge you're running, but with a little bit of training and a little bit of knowledge, she goes down relatively easy. A Stab super effective wing attack takes out the Lombre, and Bye-bye Algo. Prepping for Wattson, we stop in this house and talk to this guy right here to get the HM for Rock Smash. It's not a great move with only a base 20 power, but I don't see another way of working around Wattson's Magneton. As a matter of fact, Wattson's actually relatively difficult and has given me quite the run for my money in a few of these different runs, so I'm a little nervous for this next battle. Well, there's no time like the present, so let's take on Wattson. We lead out James because Voltorb has self-destruct. We can outspeed and actually one-shot with a stab headbutt. Very nice. As the Electrike comes out, we could swap in to Robert and start setting up Howls versus Howls with the Electrike, but I opt to go for headbutt, one-shotting it. This brings us to his scary Magneton. I hit it with a Rock Smash turn 1. It does a decent little bit of damage and gets the defense drop. Very nice. We then get tagged with a Thunder Wave that we cure off with a Cherry Berry because I was prepared. We hit Magneton with another Rock Smash, taking it just below half, and then we finally get paralyzed with Thunder Wave. We then get outsped and hit with a Sonic Boom down to 56 HP, and Rock Smash takes Magneton low. Wattson uses his first of 2 Super Potions to almost fully heal the Magneton, and then I hit it with a Rock Smash sitting just above half health. We then get hit with a Super Sonic, which is very annoying, but we break through the confusion to hit a Rock Smash, taking Magneton low again. Wattson uses up his final Super Potion, and we break through confusion again to hit a Rock Smash to just about above half, getting another defense drop in the process. We get hit with a Sonic Boom to 36 HP, and James finally decides to hurt himself in confusion, so I need to swap out. I bring in Mary. Mary tanks a Shockwave on the swap in very nicely, and then I tag Magneton with a Yawn. We get hit with a Thunder Wave that I do cure off with a held Cherry Berry. I just go for Slack Off to heal ourselves up, and Magneton fully paralyzes us with a Thunder Wave. I swap into Robert as the Magneton lulls off to sleep. Magneton stays asleep, and we hit a Rock Smash that takes Magneton to a Sliver, gets another defense drop, which doesn't matter. As the Magneton stays asleep, we take it out with one more Rock Smash. Very nice. This brings out Manectric. Manectric does go for Howl, raising its attack, which only raises its quick attack, and then we hit it with an Uproar. Locking ourselves into a move is never good, but I think we've got this. Manectric decides to hit a Shockwave that does way more than I thought it would, taking us to 39 HP. We fire off another Uproar that drops Manectric into Citrus Berry healing range, and then Manectric takes out Robert with another Shockwave. That is why locking ourselves into a move is not great. I do bring out John. Thought John could do something in this battle. We get tagged with a Thunder Wave and then hit a very weak tackle. Shockwave, if it had crit, would have taken us out. Sitting at 19 HP, I swap into Mary on a quick attack. Manectric hits us with a Shockwave, then down to 38 HP, and I fire off a Scratch, taking Manectric low. I can survive a non-critical hit Shockwave, so I stay in and risk it, sitting at 6 HP and staying fully paralyzed. This is going to bait out a quick attack, so I swap into Michael, who gets hit with a quick attack on the swap in, and then can fire off a quick attack of his own, defeating Wattson, but we lost Robert in the process. I said it before, never count Wattson out. His team is very respectable, and I've had trouble with it in the past. This was my own stupid mistake, though, losing Robert, so I am very, very sorry. Now that we can use Rock Smash outside of battle from defeating Wattson, we head back to the Rusturf Tunnel to where we can reunite these two after a Rock Smash, and he gives us the HM for Strength. This is a great stab option for a couple of Pokemon on our team, such as James and Mary. It is a base 80 power move with 100% accuracy. It is a great normal type move. Hyper Beam and Double Edge are much better, but this doesn't require us to wait for a turn to use it a second time or take recoil damage. On Route 113, we can pick up another encounter, a Spinda named David with a serious neutral nature. I've never used this Pokemon. I'm excited to use it. On Route 114, we can round out the team, catching a Swablu named Patricia that has a Naughty plus attack minus special defense nature. Unfortunately, when this thing evolves into an Altaria, it loses its normal typing, so it's going to sit on the team for now. After we do all the Team Aqua and Team Magma stuff here in Meteor Falls, we can actually pick up a Moonstone, which is a great evolutionary item for John on our team. I just got to look up the moveset and see at what level we do want to evolve John, which is immediately. There's no move after level 28 that I want it to learn, so we're going to just evolve this thing from a Skitty to a Delcatty. Still not a great Pokemon, but it is a special attacker that does learn a wide variety of TMs, so welcome to the team. After defeating Maxie on top of Mount Chimney, of course we take the Meteorite, because we can head back to Fall Arbor Town into this house right here and talk to Professor Cosmo, who wants the Meteorite as a reparation for the things that he's done. In exchange, he is going to give us the TM for return, which is a huge stab option for our team. Of course, we're going to have to do a little bit of running around to gain a little bit more friendship, but I think Mary is about to get a huge move added to her repertoire of moves. And that brings us to Flannery. Now, Mary can also learn the TM for bulk up that we got from defeating Brawly, and we're going to need to set up at least 4 of these to take out the Torkoal in the back. So we need Numel to cooperate here. It goes for Sunny Day turn 1, which is scary but also very nice. We set up a second bulk up, raising our attack and defense, and Numel misses an overheat. That's perfectly great. A third bulk up, this time Numel hits a overheat, and it does a substantial amount of damage in the sun, leaving us at 41 HP. That's a bit scary, but I do need to set up that 4th bulk up, so we have to risk it. We set up the 4th bulk up, and Numel goes for takedown. Okay, that puts us at 36 HP, and now we can start firing off stab returns, one-shotting her entire team. Numel goes down in a single return. Out comes Slugma, and this thing gets outsped and one-shot with return. Camerupt is also outsped and one-shot with return, and her last Pokemon is Torkoal, which is very scary, but with the bulk up set up at the very beginning, we can one-shot her with a stab return. Very nice. We then make a beeline straight to Petalburg to take on our dad. It's Dad versus Son, Spinda versus David, Normal versus Norman. A strength on Spinda takes it low. I led with David here because we can't be confused, so I figured this was a good 1v1. Facade doesn't do much to us, and then Norman opts for a Hyper Potion, so we can actually get back-to-back strengths from David. As I said, strength is a great stab option, and this is a great showing from David in its debut battle. This baits in the Slacking with counter. I figured it was going for counter, so I swap into Mary, but instead Slacking goes for Facade. On its loafing turn, I decide to go for bulk up, raising our attack and defense, and then I go for slack off. Almost fully healing myself as the Slacking tries to go for yawn, but Vital Spirit won't let us be put to sleep. On its loafing turn, I decide to go for bulk up again. Then I go for a yawn because the Slacking can be put to sleep. It tries to go for counter like I thought it would, but that doesn't matter. We can set up another bulk up as it lulls off to sleep. The setup and everything is complete. We can now fire off a stab returns, taking the Slacking low. I knew we wouldn't one-shot it, but we do take it into Citrus Berry healing range. One more return takes out the Slacking, and that was a very nice showing once again from Mary. As our mirror match comes out, we outspeed and one-shot with a stab return, and Lanoon is his last Pokemon that of course is outsped and one-shot with return as well. I am the superior normal type trainer, Norman. After his defeat, he does hand us the TM for Facade, which is one of the most busted and overpowered moves that we can get from Michael, making him an absolute force to be reckoned with. This brings us to the events of the Weather Institute. After defeating all of the Team Aqua grunts, we get gifted a Pokemon Cast Form. This Pokemon can change its typing with its forecast ability, becoming a Fire type, a Water type, or an Ice type. We used it in our fire-only run, and it is a great special attacker. Jennifer here has a serious neutral nature. I can control its ability to change forms and change type, so I'm not going to outlaw it in this run, but I'm only going to add it to the team if our other Pokemon faint. It is a great Pokemon. I don't want to outlaw it. We could get rid of all of the different moves like Sunny Day, but it is going on backup for now. We do have an upcoming encounter that also has a weird ability, allowing it to change its typing, but we'll talk about that when we get there. First, we've got to take on our rival for what is going to be the last time of this run. Our Pelipper is annoying going for Protect turn 1. We do then get off a wing attack that takes it to about half health, and then we get hit with a wing attack that does pitiful damage. Another annoying round of Protect means we miss our wing attack, but then we can connect and take out the Pelipper. Her Combuskin comes out and goes down to a stab super effective wing attack, and this just leaves her Lombre, which does outspeed us to hit us with a priority fake out annoyingly, but then we can hit it with a stab super effective wing attack, winning us a very trivial battle. If we bypass Fortree City, we can talk to Steven Stone here. He's going to give us the Devon Scope so that we can see these invisible Pokemon that are blocking our path. The invisible Pokemon turns out to be a Kecleon. Kecleon has the color change ability, meaning when it gets hit with a certain move, it turns into that move. So if we hit the Kecleon with Ember, it turns into a Fire-type Pokemon. I have no control over that, and I don't know how well that would work in my favor. I do use a Feint attack here to kind of show off the color change ability. I'm going to catch this thing and I'm going to put it on the team. It's definitely going to replace Patricia here. Patricia's been great in the back, but it's an unevolved Pokemon and it will fall off relatively quickly. I don't want to outlaw this Pokemon because of its ability. If we did, we would never get to use a Kecleon, and this is a Pokemon I have never used, so I want to try it out and see if it is definitely worth the trouble that we're going through. We used to have really tight and strict rules about how things would be played, but I just want to try the different Pokemon. I love putting the quote-unquote weaker Pokemon that nobody uses on the team and just see what they can do, because some of them have surprised me, like Furfrou in Generation 6. So let's meet William here. William has an Impish plus defense and minus special attack nature, and Kecleon has a huge special defense. This thing is a very bulky Pokemon. The 6th gym leader is Winona and her flying types, and this is where John is going to get to put in some work. With the events of the new Mauville stuff, we got the TM for Thunderbolt, and then we grabbed the TM from Ice Beam from the Mauville game corner. Unfortunately, we're not bulky enough to take out the Swablu in a single hit. It just sets up a safeguard, which is perfectly fine, and then Winona goes for a Hyper Potion, fully healing up the Swablu. We then connect with a Thunderbolt, taking Swablu down to a Sliver, and then we can outspeed and take it out with one more Thunderbolt. Very nice. Tropius is then out next. A quad super effective Ice Beam one-shots it. Pelipper is out third and does what Pelipper does best, going for Protect, being annoying, but it fails its second Protect, and we take it out with a quad super effective Thunderbolt. Skarmory is not going to go down to a single Thunderbolt, which is kind of annoying because of course it goes for Sand Attack, dropping our accuracy by -1. We then hit another Thunderbolt to take it out, and John makes it to the Altaria without ever taking a tick of damage. That's quickly stopped as we take a Dragon's Breath to the face and get paralyzed. We fire off a quad super effective Ice Beam, and it leaves Altaria at a Sliver, but gets the freeze. Very nice. Altaria's Oranberry then activates, not enough to pull it out of healing range as Winona goes for her last Hyper Potion. We then stay paralyzed. Altaria stays frozen. We stay paralyzed again. Altaria stays frozen, and we miss an Ice Beam because of that lowered accuracy. Altaria stays frozen again, and then we finally fire off an Ice Beam that one-shots. I guess it was a range. That is a very good showing from John. This brings us to Lily Cove and access to the Safari Zone, where I have a potential for 2 encounters, and of course the first one is Doduo. I could also encounter a Girafarig here. I would have much preferred that Pokemon, and I would have probably added it to the team. I'll catch the Doduo if I can, but I already have a flying normal type that is far superior. Not saying that Doduo is not a great Pokemon, it is very fast, but it just is outclassed by Michael in every way. We do have another encounter if we head back to Route 115, where we can get our hands on a Jigglypuff. I'm probably not going to go catch that Pokemon, though, unless I really need it. Linda the Doduo has a Careful plus special defense minus special attack nature. That's a great nature for it. As I said, it's on backup, so it's going to sit in the box. A metric ton of storyline stuff later, and we find ourselves in Moss Deep taking on Tate and Liza. Their double battle format has been very difficult for me in the past, but that ends here. A pre-poisoned Michael with Guts and Facade easily one-shots the Claydol. This brings out Lunatone. As the Xatu goes for a Calm Mind, we can hit it with a physical Shadow Ball in this generation down to low red health. Tate and Liza then use a Hyper Potion, which is a little too late, and we can knock it out with a Guts boosted Facade. This brings out the Soul Rock. Lunatone sets up a Calm Mind, and then we hit it with that physical Shadow Ball down to yellow health. It heals up with a Citrus Berry back up to about half health, and then it's another 1-2 combo. Facade takes out the Lunatone, Soul Rock sets up a Sunny Day, and then we hit it with a Shadow Ball to yellow health. Citrus Berry activates, pulling it back above half, and then one more Facade takes out the Soul Rock, winning us a very easy Tate and Liza battle. We find ourselves in Pacifilog Town hunting Rayquaza. Way back when I called this Pacifilodog Town, and that was of course on purpose, and people hounded me for it, and you should too. But the reason that we're in this town is we are here to talk to this guy, the PokeFan Club chairman's younger brother, who gives us another TM for return because our Pokemon has a high enough friendship, and that is a very nice stab option for another team member. We finish up the Team Aqua and Team Magma storyline, putting Kyogre and Groudon back in their respective caves, and then we talk to these two idiots that are like, we almost ended the world. What a bunch of dipshits. Then they just dip out. That's crazy. Anyway, time to get the HM for Waterfall and take on the final gym, which is Juan and his water types. He leads Love Disc and I lead John. Now we do get outsped turn 1 and hit with a Water Pulse, and annoyingly it does get the confusion. We were prepared for that. We do have a held Person Berry to cure off the confusion very nicely. The Love Disc is annoying. We can then set up the Sun. Luckily for us, Love Disc does miss Sweet Kiss the very next turn, so then we can fire off the Sun boosted Solar Beam, making it a 1-turn attack, one-shotting the Love Disc. It doesn't boost it in any physical sense, I'm just saying it makes it a 1-turn attack. As the Whiscash comes out, it goes down to a quad super effective Solar Beam. Out next is Celio. This is very nice. Everything's going in our favor because the Solar Beam one-shots it. Then he brings out his Crawdaunt. That can go down to a 1-turn Solar Beam, and that brings out his Kingdra. The Sunlight fades, and Kingdra goes for Double Team, but we do hit it with a nasty Ice Beam that gets a critical hit, taking it to half. I figure this thing's going to go for rest, so I swap into Mary, and sure enough, Kingdra goes to sleep, but it heals it off with a held Chesto Berry, which is annoying. I then tag it with a Yawn. We get hit with a nasty Water Pulse that does way more than I think it should have, and then we can fire off a return that takes Kingdra down to half. It opts to go for a Double Team and then falls asleep. We break through the +2 to evasion to fire off one more stab return, defeating the Kingdra and winning us the 8th gym badge. A trek through Victory Road and some training later, here is the team. James, the Lanoon, with Strength, Irontail, Belly Drum, and Surf. William, the Kecleon, with Return, Aerial Ace, Shadow Ball, and Ancient Power. We have Michael, the Pre-Poison Swellow, with Aerial Ace, Facade, Steel Wing, and Fly. Next is John, the Delcatty, with Thunderbolt, Sunny Day, Ice Beam, and Solar Beam. We have Mary, the Vigoroth that I never evolved, with Return, Yawn, Bulk Up, and Slack Off. Rounding out the team is David the Spinda with Strength, Double Edge, Feint Attack, and Teeter Dance. First up for the Elite Four is Sydney and his Dark types. I lead David against the Mightyena, mostly to soak up the Intimidate, but also this Pokemon has Roar, so we can't do any kind of setup strats. I do hit it with a -1 Strength that doesn't quite take it to half, and then we get hit with a Sand Attack that is very annoying. This means we miss our Double Edge the next turn, but Mightyena hits its Double Edge, doing a decent amount of damage to David, but a little bit of recoil to itself. I still opt to go for Double Edge, which is a very strong normal type move, knocking out the Mightyena, doing some recoil to ourselves. This brings out the Shiftry. As the Shiftry comes out, I do swap into James. I wanted to show this off because James at level 53 learns Belly Drum. We do come in on a Double Team, then set up the Belly Drum. Luckily for us, Shiftry is still trying to go for Double Team, and we do break through the +2 evasion to fire off a Stab Strength, one-shotting the Shiftry. Belly Drum maximizes our attack at the cost of half of our health. We don't need it. We could have easily won this battle without the setup sweep, but it is enough to knock out the Cacturne, the Crawdaunt, and the Absol, respectively. Against Phoebe and her ghost types, I'm leading William. I need to fix that on the side real quick. There we go. Dusclops likes to go for Protect turn 1, so I'm going to burn the turn going for Aerial Ace. It has pressure, so it's going to eat up our power points. What I want to do is fish for Omni Boosts, because we can't one-shot these Pokemon. We don't get it, but we do the chip damage. We get confused, which is very annoying, and I don't want to deal with confusion, so I pivot into Mary. Dusclops goes for Protect on the swap-in, which does nothing, and then it goes for Protect the next turn, so we can't tag it with the Yawn, which is annoying. We tag it with Yawn the very next turn, and I'm trying to get confused with Mary so we can swap out. There we go. Very nicely. Thank you for cooperating. We can pivot back into William. Dusclops goes for Protect on the swap-in, which does nothing, and then falls asleep. I could fish for more Omni Boost, but I opt to go for Shadow Ball, knocking this thing out. The Bayonet cannot be one-shot either, so I fish for an Omni Boost with Ancient Power, and then we get hit with a Feint Attack that changes us to a Dark type. A Shadow Ball takes out the Bayonet, bringing out the Sableye, which is the biggest threat on her team, in my opinion. I opt to just go for Shadow Ball, which does just over half, and Sableye goes for Double Team. One more Shadow Ball knocks out the Sableye. This brings out Bayonet number 2, that we fish for an Omni Boost with Ancient Power, and we do not get it. It hits us with a Facade, turning us back into a normal type, and then we can take it out with a Shadow Ball. Her last Dusclops is a little more bulky, so I just go for Shadow Ball turn 1 that knocks this thing into low yellow health. It then hits us with an Earthquake that even if it had crit would not have taken us out, turning us into a ground type, activating her Citrus Berry, pulling her out of healing range so we can take her out with one more Shadow Ball. Glacia and her ice types are up next, and I'm leading Michael in this battle. That may seem very weird because we are a flying type weak to ice type, but we have Guts and we have Facade. We outspeed and one-shot every single one of her Pokemon. This is pretty funny in my opinion. I could have gone any route that we wanted to. We could set up with Mary, we could set up with James. Michael, we don't need any setup, we just need the pre-poison. We are going to take some poison damage as this battle progresses, but we still outspeed and one-shot every single Pokemon. The first Celio and the first Glalie go down very easily. The second Celio comes out, of course, is outsped one-shot with a Guts-boosted Facade. This brings out her last Glalie. It is outsped and one-shot with a Stab Facade. And Walrein is final for Glacia that does get outsped and go down to a single Facade. We were sitting at 76 HP at the end of the battle. Very nice. I am trying to use different Pokemon in all these battles to give everybody a little bit of a leap for time. Rather than going for John here and setting up and sweeping with Ice Beam, I opt to go for Mary. Mary needs 2 bulk ups to sweep the team, everybody except Salamence. So we set up on turn 1 because Shelgon likes to go for Protect. Shelgon actually goes for a second Protect, which is absolutely amazing because we get a second bulk up for free. I was worried about a Rock Tomb speed lower, but we would have made it through. With the assist of Silk Scarf, we now can one-shot every single Pokemon except for the Salamence. Shelgon goes down to a Stab Return. Out comes Altaria, we outspeed and take it out with a Stab +2 Return. Kingdra is then out next and is outsped and one-shot via a critical hit, but the critical hit did not matter. Flygon comes out and goes down to a single Stab +2 Return, and this just leaves Salamence. Salamence lowers our attack by 1 stage with Intimidate, so we're only sitting at +1 as we fire off a return. That takes Salamence low into yellow health. A Dragon Claw connects and would not have knocked us out without a critical hit and a very high roll. Citrus Berry activates, pulling Salamence back to half, but another Stab Return takes it out, winning us the Elite Four. As we take on the champion, Wallace, I thought of a couple of different ways to do this battle. I really wanted John in here to do something, and John could have 2-shot the Wailord with Thunderbolt, but then Tentacruel would come out and probably knock us out. So I opt to just go for the Guts-boosted Facade with Michael. Why make this harder than it needs to be, right? Even a bulky Pokemon like Wailord is one-shot. Tentacruel then comes out, and this thing has Toxic, which could be annoying for the entirety of my team, but I'm already poisoned, and a Guts-boosted Facade one-shots the Tentacruel. Melodic has the same exact problem with Toxic, so we one-shot it with a Stab Guts-boosted Facade. As the Ludicolo comes out, I decide why not? Let's swap it up for Aerial Ace and take it out with a Stab super effective Guts-boosted Aerial Ace. Whiscash is then out next, and I decide, you know what? Instead of stealing the show with Michael, let's bring in John. Let's let John do something. John gets hit with a Surf on the swap-in and then sets up the Sun. A critical hit Surf the next turn would have taken us out, but it was worth the risk. A quad super effective solar beam one-shots the Whiscash, and this just leaves Gyarados for Wallace. As we get hit with the Intimidate, I think, what a way to end this battle. If we outspeed, we win with quad super effective Thunderbolt, but alas, we do not outspeed, and we get knocked out from a Surf. Sorry, John, I just wanted you to do something. I do bring in David because he hasn't had a lot of screen time, and we get outsped and hit with a nasty little Earthquake down to 70 HP. Again, we could have lost this Pokemon, and Strength doesn't do as much as I had hoped. So, rather than risk any more Pokemon, I swap into Michael, who avoids the Earthquake on a swap-in and can easily outspeed and one-shot with that Guts-boosted Stab Facade, winning us the champion battle, winning us the run. That was a very fun run, and outside of Roxanne and her Rock-type Pokemon, there was no other difficult battles. We did lose a Pokemon to Wattson, which may have been unavoidable if I hadn't locked myself into Uproar, and then losing John here in the Elite Four, of course, was completely avoidable. I just wanted it to do something. I try to use all of these Pokemon in these runs, and sometimes it doesn't always work out. But again, we don't need to make the battles any harder than they need to be. We should have just swept the entire thing with Michael. A lot of great Pokemon. Mary, James, Michael, all great Pokemon. William, super bulky, super great. Spinda can definitely hold its own. It's just a middle ground normal type Pokemon in my opinion. And John, absolute turd. We know that. I hope you guys enjoyed this run. I enjoyed it ever so much. I had a lot of fun playing with the normal types. And if you did enjoy this run, you guys know the routine. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.